Hello guys, and I'm here from Not Toys Action Figures bringing you another action figure review, and we can see, boom, very in with the time and in with the meta in the Star Wars universe. We have the Mandalorian in the Beskar armor, but you can't really see that because, well, when I got this box it was already ripped. But yeah, very on time, because if you are up to date with Book of Bobba's threat, you'll know why it's on very on time. So yeah, so I thought I'd open him up. I actually meant to do this on a stream, but didn't get around to actually streaming. But yeah, I have the old kind of pick and mix, I call him, Mandalorian, and now I have him in Beskar. So we're gonna open him up and we're gonna compare them. So let's get him open. Okay, so here we have him out of the box, and you can see I added the Darksaber to him because, yeah, spoilers I guess for Book of Boba Fett, but you get to see him with the Darksaber. And yeah, he's very cool. Like, we have his earlier version here, and yeah, I mean, it's the same figure. Oh, please stand up. More or less the same figure. With the Beskar armor, he does come with a jetpack, but pretty much everything else is exactly the same. I wish this guy would just stand up. I just had him stood up off the side of the camera, but now, of course, he doesn't want to stand up. There we go. Yeah, more or less the same figure. They both have similar armor. There's a few tweaks here and there on the armors, of course, because this one has some more kind of, you'll see on the arm itself here when we go into a bit of a closer look, a bit more detail than him. But I think they are both a cool view. Let me just get a little bit of a closer view for you. Okay, so we're a bit closer in now. You can see the differences. I like the dirt and the contrast here on this Mandalorian. Like, it looks like, you know, he's been kind of adding bits of armor to himself as he goes along, which kind of gives him more of that mercenary bounty hunter feel. Whereas this one does feel like, yeah, the more complete, the more perfect Mandalorian that we've come to know with the end of season 1 and season 2, and now also in the Book of Boba Fett. But yeah, it's cool. They do look kind of similar. I mean, they look the same, but I think there's difference enough. Like, you could also argue that these two stood next to each other were two different Mandalorians. So, you know, if you wanted to build out like a Mandalorian crew, you could maybe even add a few tweaks to this guy to make him look different. But yeah, the Mandalorian with the Beskar armor, he comes with the same things as this Mandalorian, which we will go through now. Okay, so what does the Beskar armor Mandalorian have, you may ask? Well, like I said, unfortunately, he doesn't actually come with the Darksaber. This is part of Moff Gideon. But he does come with a nice, shiny suit of armor. Take this out for now. And yeah, his mostly looks the same, but there are some important differences to the show. You can see here, he has his emblem of the Mudhorn that he and Grogu took out. He has a jetpack that fixes onto his back. Let me just move the light, just so we have some more light. Just like this, there are 3 pegs on the jetpack, 3 pegs here. This is also where you can put in his rifle. If you do want to have the rifle on his back, you can force it into here. It's not the best fit, but it works. You just force that in like this. But otherwise, yeah, the jetpack goes in. The jetpack itself, a little bit uninspired. Like, it doesn't really fit to the character. It doesn't look as chrome or as shiny as it does in the show. It just kind of feels a bit generic. Like, okay, here is a generic mold that we have. We'll just keep using that, which, I mean, is fair enough. But when you have such a sheen and a shine on the silver like this on the Beskar, to have this kind of dull jetpack kind of brings it down a level for me. But yeah, otherwise he comes, as you saw, with his rifle. The rifle itself is the same as the one on the other Mandalorian. This one is just painted, so here it's been painted silver, and it seems like it has a lighter brown on the stock here, but everything else is more or less the same. The sight is in the same place. The end has been painted silver as well, so it just adds a nice touch and just adds a bit more, again, like a fresh look to the older, more grubbier looking Mandalorian that we have back here. He also comes with a sidearm, which I have in the sheath here, not the sheath, the holster here. Same thing for the sidearm. It's exactly the same mold, but has been painted in kind of silver with a more brown, like light brown stock there, or what would you call that, grip. So yeah, it's a nice little upgrade on the original stuff. but nothing too different. And the other thing he does have is the cape, which again, more or less the same mold, more or less the same color. It might be a little bit darker than the other one, but obviously if you have the cape on, you can't really have the jetpack on, which is kind of the main, I don't know, the main thing about this character is he has a jetpack, in my opinion, in this version of the Mandalorian. So yeah, you can't really I mean, you could pull his head off if you wanted, but I don't think there is actually a head under there. It's just all one piece. So what I did was, luckily this bends enough that you can just pull it off over his head. But yeah, that's what we have for the Mandalorian. I can go quickly over his articulation. So his head has a big swivel. He looks down this far. Doesn't look too far back. His arm goes up to here. Then on the elbows, not too pinned, so they only go up to about 90 degrees. Here's his trigger finger. It turns around, goes up and down. Go down to his torso. His torso does kind of lean forward. With this strap going over his shoulder, it doesn't really crunch as far as you might want it to. It does have a ball on it. His leg goes up to here, 2 pinned, knee comes back. This armor piece has kind of been browned out, like it's not completely silver. It's kind of like an interesting touch, like as if the paint of the Beskar has come off, but I don't think Beskar is meant to have paint on it. Go down to his legs, you can see the same details that we have on the other Mandalorian. Foot has no swivel down there, but it does have a rocker forward here, rocks back, and then has this kind of rocker. So yeah, that's his articulation. Let's put him in some poses, and then we'll end the video. Okay, here we have pose number 1, going for a kind of old Mando meets new Mando look, with the dark saber still, but still having his pistol drawn like he's ready to wreck some fools. Very nice. I don't know, I think adding the dark saber makes this figure even a lot cooler, because otherwise, you know, it's kind of more of what we've seen, and that's kind of a problem we're getting with these Mandalorian figures, is it's just a little bit of variation on what we've already had. I'm sure we'll be getting a figure with the dark saber included at some point from Hasbro, which will basically be this, I would say. But yeah, it definitely looks cool together. So let's put him in another pose. So here we're going for a more kind of casual, not quite ready for action, but always prepared look with the Mandalorian. And I don't know, I think with these kind of clone troopers and also troops in armor, this is my favorite kind of look. Like they're just there, they're ready. They look sick. They have such a cool silhouette, but they just look ready for anything. And it's nice that the Mandalorian can also be put into this kind of feel too. Very cool looking figure. So let's put him in one more pose, and then we'll end the episode. Okay, and finally we have the two together, the two Mandos, looking pretty sick together. And even though they are the same character, obviously, and pretty much the same figure, they do look vastly different, and I really like that. Like, I really like that still, even though it's more or less the same sculpt, they do look so different. I love how the one on the left looks so dirty and like disheveled, and that's kind of how, I don't know, I feel like the Mandalorian should have stayed. Is like this kind of guy that'll do anything. He's not perfect, and you can see that he's pieced his armor together with whatever he can. And then on the right you have this more military styled, like, warrior, the typical idea of a Mandalorian in the Beskar. But yeah, really cool. Let me know which one you prefer by messaging in the comments. But I think what's really interesting is you can see on my Mandalorian here, I don't think his face is quite symmetrical. I think his left side is actually a bit wonky compared to his right. Some angles you can't see it, but when you compare it to this one looks more like a T, and this one looks like the bottom is kind of tapered closer together, which is, it's kind of interesting. It's hard to get across on the camera, but from looking at it right now, it does look a bit more like, yeah, like it's been warped slightly, but that doesn't really matter too much to me. Oops, careful, don't want to knock him over. Yeah, so that was my review of the Mandalorian in the Beskar armor. Not the most exciting figure, I know. Like I know he's been out for a long time, and I've had him for a long time, to be honest. But with what happened in Book of Boba Fett episode 5 and what's going to probably happen in episode 6, I wanted to get the review out because it's very timely. So yeah, let me know what you thought of the review. If you liked it, please do give us a like. And if you want to see more Black Series content or Lightning Collection content or just action figures reviews in general, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 500 subscribers, and it would be awesome if you join us for that journey. But otherwise, yeah, I've been Adam. This is Not Toys Action Figures. And thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.